Hello, wrestling fans, and we are live on the We Can't Wrestle podcast Facebook page. Nate Maxon here. We're going to record the latest edition of the We Can't Wrestle podcast tonight, where we're going to keep discussing the Pro Wrestling Illustrated 500. But I wanted to do this part of the show live on Facebook because it's been a big news day in the world of professional wrestling. Yes, I am announcing that I am stepping down as the CEO and chairman of the WrestleNet Radio Podcast Network. Then, now, together, around the block, up the street, at your mom's house.
Is Nick Khan taking over the We Can't Wrestle podcast as well?
No, Aaron figured out a way to force me out.
Oh, damn.
I signed non-disclosure agreements with a midget and a donkey. It's quite embarrassing. Anyway, I'm just kidding. Guys, as you can see, I am joined by Mr. Archie Mitchell. Or I'm sorry, La Archie. La Archa. La Archa. And Mr. Mark Brew.
Yo.
For those of you commenting, hello. David Gold said, great shirt, Archie.
Thanks. I put it on ironically.
And we got our Facebook user. Guys, if you don't know, you have to do something to be able to for us to see your name on StreamYard. But anyway, what we're here for is to discuss the big news of the day, one of which was a swerve, apparently, or something got worked out. But one of the news stories, maybe the biggest news story of the day, maybe the biggest news story since WWF bought WCW, maybe the biggest news story in wrestling of my lifetime. Vince McMahon has stepped down as the chairman and CEO of WWE. I never thought I'd see it. Never. I mean, I don't know that I never thought I'd see it. I kind of saw him at some point maybe getting forced out.
Right.
But for him to willingly retire, I guess willingly, because you guys know I've been talking the conspiracy theory for a while that they've been trying to, Nick Khan's been trying to, all right, you look at Vince's circle, right? Bruce, Johnny Ace, Stephanie, Triple H, anybody else, Kevin Dunn. All of this stuff's been going on with Vince all of these years, and nobody's done anything about it. So then you add a new guy to the mix who's not a wrestling guy, isn't in that inner circle, and is known for being a mergers and acquisitions guy, Nick Khan, who I've said has been preparing that company for a sale or merger, haven't I, Archie, for like a year, year and a half.
For at least a year. Yeah.
And lo and behold, I really do think that at some point he was going through the books, going through the papers, going through the documents, and found these NDAs.
Yep.
And, he probably went to the family and said, look, you guys can still be a part of this, but I'm pushing the old man out.
Nate, do you remember the movie Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd?
Yes.
Remember when they both walked into the big guy's office and they're like, we saw these checks written out to Clarence Beeks. Who is he? I don't see him on the payroll. I feel like Nick Khan might have maybe went to Stephanie and first and went, what's this non-disclosure for $3 million? And Stephanie was like, you know what? I'm going to take my leave of absence right now.
Right. Yes, exactly. And Triple H was like, I'm going to accept a demotion for a little bit.
Right. For a little bit.
All the pieces of the puzzle came together in the past couple of weeks. And we can't forget
Kevin Dunn was like, I'm going to sell some WWE stock because that was smart to do while all this was going on.
Well, let's talk for a second before we get to other stuff. What do you guys think? Am I right? Is this the biggest story of our lifetimes? Because WWF fine, WCW and ECW is huge, but this is insane.
The last big story I could even think of that was worth groundbreaking and going to be going on for at least a couple of months, because this isn't a one-day thing. Every time something happens now, it's going to be like, well, if Vince was around, or wow, if Vince, it was so much better when Vince was there, or it's better now that Vince is gone. Mm-hmm. Was WCW being bought by Vince McMahon? And honestly, Vince said it in his goodbye speech that he put up on Twitter, his statement. I'm still the majority shareholder, so I'm going to be there for the WWE no matter what. So that to me says that he's still the owner,
Yeah.
but he's not going to handle the day-to-day operations.
Yes, and from everything I've heard, he's stepping away from creative too. There's not a swerve there.
Hallelujah.
And
I mean,
eh,
in my opinion, the quality, like whoever just commented, this says maybe we go back to wrestling instead of sports entertainment. Like
Right.
the quality of the shows, in my opinion, are probably fixing to pick up and be something heavy. You know, something you can sink your teeth into, have a little meat on the bone instead of giving you. Well, I mean, we had chicken, but here's the bone.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, and if you see Stephanie and Triple H in charge, because Nick Khan's not going to be involved in the creative. That's not
No.
going to happen.
No.
If Triple H is creative in NXT Black and Gold is any indication, we could be headed in that kind of a direction.
Right.
Now, what I will say is this: as far as Vince's legacy goes, do you know what I always say is the worst take anybody can have? It's those people that say Vince McMahon ruined wrestling.
No,
I
didn't.
hate that. It's the worst take. That's like saying P.T. Barnum ruined the circus.
Right.
Okay? Like Vince McMahon did, and I know what people are going to say who are older than me that were alive in the fucking 70s or whatever, watching boring ass Dory Funk matches. No disrespect to Dory Funk, but I'm just saying, I know what they're going to say. No, territorial wrestling was the best. And I also love territorial wrestling. But to say Vince McMahon killed the business is so stupid. It's such a bad take. He made it bigger than it ever was.
Right. He put it on a grander stage.
If it wasn't for his company and the way he promoted it and all the way that it fell out and you wouldn't have the indie scene we have now. You wouldn't have the convention scene that we have now. All of that spawns off of WWE. What are the biggest weekends for every independent wrestling company in the country? WrestleMania weekend.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying, conventions and all that stuff. Vince McMahon did much more good for pro wrestling than he ever did bad. And I'm not saying he didn't do some bad.
Look, there are people in this world, you mentioned, Nick, that can go back to the 70s and the 60s and all that. Those same people used to watch guys throw a basketball into a peach bucket and thought it was fun. You know what I mean? Versus now today's basketball being guys dunking the ball and flying through the air. There were people who watched baseball being played in a field. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Every sport or every form of entertainment has to evolve. Vince McMahon did it, like Mark said, on a grander scale. He took WrestleMania and made it the Super Bowl, the World Series, and the NBA Finals all in one. Because you don't just get one championship match, you get all of them. And bigger names and bigger celebrities. And, the first WrestleMania, Liberace was there. Muhammad Ali was there. Now we get bigger celebrities like, the guy who played Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, and, other big crazy names.
There's another thing. That's a great point. Another thing that Vince did for the wrestling business by creating, some people say sports entertainment's a bad word. I don't. It's a business.
No, it's a business.
And I enjoy good wrestling better than weird sports entertainment like the annual cake fights and stuff on SmackDown. But on the other hand, to what you were saying earlier about entertainment, by getting wrestling into the entertainment field and bringing it mainstream, the other thing he did for wrestlers is opened up potential for other careers, as in acting.
Right, exactly.
As in, they could do something when their career's over, parlay it into some other form of entertainment. So yeah, I mean, for anybody that says he ruined the wrestling business or killed it, they're just full of their own shit, bitter.
He evolved
That's my opinion. Yes.
Yeah, and those are probably the guys too that will drop you on your fucking neck in a match. Just saying.
And again, I'm not saying that I don't love to go. I love to watch Mid-South Wrestling, and I love to watch 1982 Georgia and stuff like that. But that statement Jeremy Cotton says, "Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Nate. Archie
I
sucks.
saw
Archie
it.
sucks."
Hi, Cotton. How are you?
He's waving.
He's like,
So the next thing, all right, Vince McMahon's legacy overall, I think we can agree. There's been no more influential figure in the history of
Nope.
wrestling, and no one made a bigger impact. And the company's going to go on without him. Disney went on
Right.
without Walt. Ford went
Right.
on without Henry.
Right.
You know, it is what it is. But the last thing I'll say, I think again, his legacy is the most influential human being ever in the history of the business.
There will never be anyone. Look, everybody's going to say, well, I hate Vince for this, I hate Vince for that. But for every one person that's saying, I hate Vince, there's 10 saying thank you. You know what I mean? And even to this day, look, I bitch about the modern product. I watch it every week. I watch constantly. And there are times of, wow, we got to get Brock Lesnar back again. But then I realized, because you pointed out, he draws money. You know? Oh,
Yeah.
we need Goldberg back again. He draws money.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So that's why we get a woman. Austin just came back at WrestleMania this year. Nobody bitched about that.
It's like Jim Ross. It's like Jim Ross always said. It's like Jim Ross always said. The thing that matters is that you're putting an ass every 18 inches. That's the most important
And
thing.
he does it. And he does it. And he's been doing it for 30 years. And I hope, look, Vince's legacy will always live on. But now we need to see WWE take a different direction slightly under the guise of Stephanie, Triple H, and I guess Nick Khan or Shere Khan or, Tony Khan or whoever Khan it
He's
is.
just going to be watching over the books. That's it.
Right.
He's going to be like, let's make sure they ain't signing no more NDAs.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you Triple H is going to go on an indie buying spree in these next few months just to piss Nick Khan off.
Oh, I can have this person?
Right.
I can have that person?
Right.
The other thing that I've heard that is maybe about the other shoes about to drop, not only are we going to, for the first time in 40 years, have a WWE without Vince McMahon, the first time in 35 years, we might have a WWE without Kevin Dunn.
Right.
Bruce
But I'd be
Pritchard.
okay with that.
Well, yeah, because the camera cuts. Maybe there should be somebody that won't give me motion sickness with their camera cuts.
Not only that, but I would rather see what the booking committee looks like and the production looks like with a Paul Heyman, a Bruce Pritchard, hell, even an Eric Bischoff behind the wheel. You know what I mean? If they could coax him back, because he's been bitching about AEW anyway for the last couple of months. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Then to see what it's like under Kevin Dunn, and it has been. Look, Kevin Dunn did a lot of great things. He helped produce The Rock and Austin. He got The Undertaker over during the ministry years. You know what I mean? He helped do a lot of good. But the last 10 years, Kevin Dunn has been blah. You know what I mean? So,
the last thing.
Who is this guy?
Aaron, unless you want to say something really quick about Vince McMahon retiring, which I never thought we'd see in our lifetime, or in his lifetime anyway.
Just like what I was telling you guys, it wasn't Vince's. This isn't Vince McMahon's like, I'm 77. It's time to go away, pal.
Right.
This is him just having to go away. And Godspeed. I hope he saved his money.
I'm sure he did. He spent a little bit of it apparently.
Obviously, he's 15 million light right now, but that was company money.
But no, it's just it's the Vince McMahon did this to himself.
It's like I said in our chat earlier. All the people, the government tried to take him down. Ted Turner tried to take him down. Eric Bischoff tried to take him down. The only person that could ever take Vince down is Vince.
And do you know what it was? The minute
Here we go.
It was the minute he made his company public.
Well, yeah, because he had a lot more eyes on him. Exactly.
Yep.
That's definitely not what I thought he was going to say.
Oh, you thought I was going to say something about Ivan Pussy.
That being said, everybody. Oh, go ahead, Aaron.
I'm just saying that's what it was. I mean, if you look at the tail of that company, that's when it all just kind of Vince wanting to be this big non-wrestling company is ultimately what led to this. And I don't want to say downfall because that was a joke about I hope he saved his money. I mean, Vince McMahon is going to be set the rest of
All he
the
wipes his ass with $100 bills.
And the only thing I'm concerned about is that Vince McMahon is a shark. And when I say that, I mean, what happens when a shark stops moving?
Yeah.
It dies.
Oh yeah, I told my wife today he'll be dead within 2 years.
You know, if they would have waited to book the Ric Flair match that's coming up, they might have been able to do Flair
They
versus
could have had
McMahon.
Vince versus
Yeah. If they would have just waited 4 extra days, they could have had Vince versus Flair in the ultimate death match.
well, like
Well, now they can. He's independent. He doesn't have a contract.
Yeah,
He
but
can go wherever he wants.
but they already booked the match here, and they can't just shut it down.
Loser
Yeah.
leaves life.
Yeah.
If Vince is going to start doing cons,
Well, he was already doing a con. He already got done by a con.
I don't flog my ego around a lot, but I just want to say I was right. I've been saying this for a year. I was right. Nick Khan is a businessman.
You were.
He was trying to push Vince McMahon in a direction Vince McMahon didn't want to go. Merger, acquisition, whatever. Stephanie and Hunter see the future. They're and I think they all kind of work together to get the old man out of there.
And that's the last thing I'll say is at the beginning of this, they said that there was an executive that made this information available.
It was Nick Khan.
Well, I think it was Triple H.
Could have been Stephanie.
I think it was.
No.
Hey, look. We all know what Vince did to his dad 40 some odd years ago. Let's be honest. He bought the company from under his father and told him, "Go home, Dad. It's time to spend time with your family." You know what I mean? So, if Stephanie or Triple H or even Shane did this to Vince, it's just coming full circle.
Yeah.
You know?
Karma's a bitch.
It is. That's why I hope never to piss my children off, because I'll be in an old folks home very soon.
Well, that being said, we are going to go
wearing a La Parker mask.
Right. Dad went a little crazy. We want to put him away.
We are going to sign off on this live edition of We Can't Wrestle podcast, and we are going to go record the latest edition of the show that will be out this weekend, where we continue our journey through the Pro Wrestling Illustrated 500. So stay tuned for that. Thank you, everybody who watched live tonight, and those of you that are watching after the fact. We'll see everybody later, and thanks for all the years of entertainment, Vince.
Yes.
Good night,
Fuck
everybody.
you, Jeremy Cotton.
Bye-bye. Wait for it.
Yeah, wait for it.
Wait for it.
We are clear of the Book of Face, so let
All right,
me.
good.
It still says live. Oh, so
no, well,
it always says live. It always says live. Yeah.
So I'll be right back, and we will start the actual show. I'm going to turn my camera off, though.
Cotton's like, I'm looking old. Well, of course I'm looking old. Heart failure will do that to you.
Christ almighty, man.
Yeah.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, I'm going to go get something to drink. I'll be back as well.
Yeah, I got to go grab something to stab these moonshine cherries with. Mm. So what's going on in the wonderful world of retail there?
Yeah, it was a kind of a shit day, but it's over, and now I'm on vacation, so
That's fucking great, man.
I don't have to go there for 8 days, which is perfect. Sounds like it's going to be good weather that week, the rest of the week.
This whole fucking week, it has rained right there at 3 o'clock every fucking day.
It rained a little bit the other day, but we haven't really had much. But it's like, it seems like when it does it like all fucking night and all day or whatever. It'll downpour and then nothing for like a week, and then it'll downpour again. Fucking
Where
Ohio's,
y'all at? Ohio, right?
yeah, Ohio's weather's stupid. Like, I'm sure there's other states that have this saying, and it's not anything original, but like people will be like, "Oh, the Ohio slogan should be: if you don't like the weather, wait around 5 minutes, it'll change." It's like 1 minute it'll be like 92 degrees, and it'll be like 70, and then yeah, it's fucking dumb. It'll snow in April. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Then you can make bets on when the where are you at?
Georgia.
So you don't get a lot. You don't get snow at all, pretty much. And fucking here, like, they have to like plow the fucking parking lots all the time. So there'll just be like this condensed like mound of snow that just gets taller and taller all throughout the parking lots and shit. And it'll get dirt in it, and it'll just last forever because it's so compact. So you'll be like, I
It's
wonder
been
what.
11 years since it snowed in the city I live in.
It's just a fucking way of life here, man. At least once, everything's just gonna be shut down. You're not even gonna be able to get out.
Yeah, I lived in Michigan and Indiana
Yeah, so
before.
it's the
From
same
the
way
time
there.
from the time I was born until I was 5, I lived in Indiana, and then from the time I was 16 to the time I was 18, I lived in Michigan.
Well, you understand.
Yeah.
Parts of Michigan get rough. Like when you get up
Oh
into like
yeah.
the UP of it, it's fucking bad up there. But yeah, we get
Well, hell, I was only right there on the Michiana line, the Indiana and the Michigan line. And damn, it was still fucking wild. It'd be like 74 degrees, sunshine, beautiful fucking day. Next morning, you get up and go out, it's fucking 4 foot of snow, and you got to dig
yeah.
yourself to a car. And I'm like,
That's why when we bought this house, I was so fucking excited because it's a fucking 2-car garage. Like, I've never had a garage in my entire fucking life. I have to fucking. The only time I have to scrape my car off is when I get off of work. Like, I can wake up, walk out, I can know before I have to go to work. Scraping of the car.
yeah. I just thought it was crazy. Like, you go from having that beautiful fucking day, and you get out there, do your routine the next day, and then you step off the porch, and there's like 4 foot of snow. It's like, what the fuck? Like, that's a drastic fucking change. Bipolar ass weather.
This weather needs Prozac.
But right, a high fucking dosage of it too.
All right, ready to get started, guys?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to the latest edition of the We Can't Wrestle podcast. Your host, Nate Maxon, here with you, and I am joined, of course, by my brother Aaron.
Hello, everybody.
Mr. Archie Mitchell.
What's up?
And Mr. Mark Brew.
Yeah, I'm ready to regulate.
Damn.
This week, we're going to continue our journey through the Pro Wrestling Illustrated 500, and stay tuned after we do this on the show, where I will add the audio of the Facebook Live that we just did, discussing Vince McMahon stepping down as the CEO and chairman of World Wrestling Entertainment. So stay tuned for that after we do this. Last week, we left off, gentlemen, with a legend at 116, Andre the Giant. We are getting closer to the top 100. See how far we get tonight
So that was
here on the
116.
We Can't Wrestle podcast.
I'm gonna say we're gonna get to like 78.
All right. Archie calls number 78.
Yeah. It's not that hard. Just pick a number.
83.
I'm gonna go. Gotta keep the Ivan Pussy thing going on. I'm gonna go 69.
I just need you guys to keep in mind how long-winded we all are.
Right.
Well, let's go. Number 115, Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff.
Hells yeah.
5'11", 253, 12 years pro, a three-time Georgia national champion. War with Hulk Hogan, was voted Feud of the Year in 1986. Currently competing in the UWF.
Should have had a run with the belt.
Yes, he should have beat Hulk Hogan for the title. No doubt. And his feud with Hogan is my second favorite Hogan feud, the first being with Randy Savage.
Yep.
And he was a guy that was a legit fucking rebel renegade, whatever you want to call him, man. He's kind of like a Brody. If he didn't like this shit, he just fucking bounce. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Right.
Fuck this
Right.
out of here.
And he's also a guy that until he went in the Hall of Fame, which he needed the money, he never went back. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like he said, fuck Vince. I don't want to work for that motherfucker. I don't want to.
He was one and done.
And I'm done. And he made a good little life for himself in WCW.
And here in 1991, he's wrestling for crazy-ass Herb Abrams and the UWF.
Yeah, and then he did some NWA, WCW shows at the end of, like, in August and July.
Yeah, well, they had brought him in because Ole was booking. Because I have always thought that it would have been better. It would have, because they were hinting. I don't know if you guys even remember, but at the end of one of the Clash of the Champions, they were kind of hinting at him feuding with Sting, because he was in as a babyface, and they were doing like the dudes with attitudes thing. And I always thought that him and Sting would have been a much better program than that goddamn Black Scorpion thing.
Right.
I agree.
Even if he would have been the Black Scorpion,
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, that the fact that he was never a recognized world champion just blows my mind.
The fact that he was always underrated too, though, because even during his feud with Hulk Hogan, Hogan barely put him over. When he got to WCW, he was regulated to tag teams or being the TV champion. He should have been definitely brought up to the main event at least once in his career in WCW.
And I know this is what you said. We were talking about 91. A couple of years from now, he has some fucking kick-ass matches with Cactus.
Yeah,
Like
he does.
badass matches with Cactus Jack.
Number 114 is the One Man Gang. 6'7", 468, 14 years pro, formerly known as Akeem, a former UWF champion, brought to WCW by Kevin Sullivan, feuding with El Gigante to prove he's the real giant in wrestling. Man, did they have some stinkers.
I was going to say the opposite of what I was saying about Paul Orndorff and Cactus Jack.
I am a fan of Gang, don't get me wrong, but
he's an underrated big man. Like he could do like tippy toe selling bullshit. You know what I mean? Like that dude should be able to do what he did. And I know like in ring he wasn't like the smoothest worker in the world, but like his bumps and selling and shit was fucking phenomenal. And he owned that Akeem gimmick. Like
what I find weird, and it was probably just me, I didn't see him as being as big as he was as Akeem. What I mean is like height wise. And then when he came in as One Man Gang, I guess it was the hat, but I mean, when he came in as One Man Gang, I'm like, how the hell did this fucker grow 5 inches? You know what I mean? It was just, but yeah, no, he was agile for a guy his size. I enjoyed him as Akeem, even though it was a rib at Dusty Rhodes. And as the one man gang, yeah, he was pretty unstoppable for a while there.
And
You
also,
want me to tell you?
oh, go ahead.
You want me to tell you how he grew 5 inches?
Ow.
He got the rub and started to erect.
Ah.
And I will say this too on a personal note. One of the probably the 10 coolest guys I've ever met, like wrestler wise. He was cool as shit, very down to earth, took time with me. We had a conversation. He actually showed me because I have a Akeem Hasbro on card.
Right.
And he signed it for me and he said, "Oh, I remember when we did these cuz they actually had us do our signature for the signature that's on the
card, right?
yeah." And
Right.
then he signed it and it's exactly the same. I'm like, "Well, I don't need a COA for this one."
Right.
Because it was absolutely it's the same exact signature. So I thought that was a cool little I didn't know that, I didn't know that. But number 113, Blake Beverly. 6'4", 252, 3 years pro, formerly a member of the Destruction Crew with Wayne Bloom. The crew captured the AWA tag title in 1989. The Beverly Brothers are the WWF's newest team. They're just coming into the WWF at this point.
Underrated tag team in my
Absolutely.
opinion. The Genius was great for them as their manager.
They should have beat the Natural Disasters at SummerSlam 92.
I agree. And they should have gotten at least a run with the tag team titles because before the Quebecers, they were the heel tag team, in my opinion. You know what I mean? They were never going to get over as faces. They were never going to get over as, with the crowd in that way. They were always hated. So what better way than to award them with the tag team titles? And then if you wanted to let Demolition or the Legion of Doom or whoever run through them, fine. But give them a shot,
Mm-hmm.
And he's also a guy that Nate's known me, obviously, my entire life. He'll know that I've died on the hills talking about how good I thought fucking Mike Enos was, and I thought, like he and Wayne Bloom too, but Mike Enos, he was just I think more should have been done with the guy, but it just never seemed to happen. I'm probably not, because he wasn't like the most charismatic guy in the world. But as an in-ring talent, that fucking dude was good.
Their finisher was killer. The way
Literally.
that he would just jump up and drive the guy's head into the mat, it was like, damn.
And as Brett would call them, they had some real knockdown dragouts with the Steiner brothers. Man.
Well, I mean, besides that one incident where that guy got hurt, I mean, their work was really fluid. Like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they were in that forever.
If you look at that bump, I think it's on their opponent. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, obviously they're in the moment and they're doing their move tight and stiff like they normally would, but that guy did not have himself in the right place.
No,
I don't think.
It's like the guy who took the pedigree head on from Triple H. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could have braced yourself and landed flat, right?
That piece of shit deserved it. You know who that was, don't you?
Who?
Fuck Zumoff. Fuck him.
We're starting early tonight, folks.
Number 112, El Gigante, 7'7", 435, tallest wrestler in the history. Entered WCW in 1990, a former center for Argentina's national basketball team, slowly become a quality competitor, contending. Now, here's the thing about him. El Gigante was not good, okay? But
he's an attraction.
Well, not just that, but everything I've ever heard from anybody that's talked about him, he was a really good guy, and he was trying.
Yeah.
I mean, say what you want about that comment.
Participation trophy.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I mean, my point is, are we to expect that this man is going to be a great wrestler?
No.
I guarantee he's there to be the attraction.
Right. It's like Kali. It's like the guy that's now in AEW that used to be a basketball player. You only want them for their size because you're hoping people will think of Andre the Giant and want to, see this guy around, like Aaron said, as an attraction. But I will say this. El Gigante, in my opinion, was much better off in WCW than WWF used him.
Yeah.
He was. I don't know. You know, at least he was being used sparingly in WCW.
We got tights for you, pal. It's got ass hair and pubes. Ass hair and pubes, pal.
It's like Flair talked about it. Like he had to work with him, and he was just talking about like Flair always did the spot where you go up to the top, and then the guy would like throw him off. You know what I mean? Catch him and slam him off. He's like, he looked at it as, Jesus Christ, imagine if this guy press slammed me off the top fucking rope. Like it was the visual thing of it. And if there would have been more people like Ric Flair in his life, it probably would have been a different story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But my favorite thing is when Jim Ross talks about him, because he was having to produce. Have you guys ever heard this?
Go ahead.
Jim Ross about him. He said he had to produce him when he was working with Flair, and he wanted Flair's title, and he didn't have great Gante didn't have great English skills, you know. So basically, his promo was like, "Ric Flair, I kill you." And Jim Ross, you can't say you're gonna kill him because you're not really gonna kill him. Like you gotta say like, "I want your belt" or "I want this." All right, let's do it again. Ric Flair, I kill you. It's like, Jesus.
But
I'm just thinking of curmudgeon Jim Ross trying to get something out of this guy and being like, he's a nice guy, but Jesus Christ.
Listen, boy, you can't say kill. You can't say kill, boy. Say you want his belt.
Kill you.
Yes, I kill him. No, but I will. As far as WCW went with him, he was in a lot more 6-man tags, 8-man tags. You know what I mean? He very rarely. Right. He was very rarely in singles matches, and when they were squashes. So it played up to him being a clumsy giant.
Yeah.
And it's not something that gets talked about a lot, which it shouldn't. But like, I'm a WCW mark, you know. Right. And I liked when he was involved with the Horsemen. You know who did the best job at selling, like being terrified of the guy? You know who it was?
Arn, I thought.
Arn. Yeah. Arn did a fucking fantastic job. Like, I want nothing to do with. Like, if he goes a Flair, I'm not helping. Like, I don't want nothing to do with this guy.
You're on your own, Rick.
Number 111 is Negro Casas. 5'7", 175, 12 years pro. Sensational Mexican wrestler, is now a worldwide star. Matches against fellow aerial specialist Jushin Liger were 1990 classics. Great flying repertoire. From what I've seen of Negro Casas, he was pretty darn good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
What does Casas mean?
Houses?
No, that's Casa.
Black houses?
Black houses.
Wow. Now I got to look it up. See what you guys do.
While you look it up, number 110 is Jerry Estrada. 5'10",
they named them Black Houses because they were like, "This is our project tonight." Like this. You can edit that out. So.
Yeah, you're actually right. It only means house or household. So his name was Black House. Damn.
Number 110 is Jerry Estrada. 5'10", 201, 14 years pro. Mexican veteran, is now a superstar throughout the world. Has held his own against top Japanese stars during the several recent tours. Has also wrestled in the U.S.
He looks like a Hispanic version of the Rocker, like one of the Rockers.
El Rockers.
He did. You know what he is now?
What?
He is one of the cross-dressers in AAA Mexico. You know, the guys that dress like women and then compete in the 6-man tags with the minis and the other attractions.
He still wrestles?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, how old is he?
Holy hell.
He's like 60 years old, and they dress him up in this long wig and these women's tights. And I think they call them Pimplia or something. And that's his job in Mexico.
He's like Nathan Lane in the Birdcage.
Exactly. That's what he looks
He's
like.
probably thinking, "Give me back the damn Rockers outfit."
Right.
By the way, the Birdcage is one of the funniest movies ever made.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
The scene
yeah.
where he says "walk like John Wayne" to look like a man, and then he walks,
And
and
then
then
he
he comes over and he's like, "What was it bad?" And he's like, "No, it was perfect. I just never realized John Wayne walked like
walk
that."
like that.
All right,
Okay. Sidebar. Did I ever tell you my Netflix story? Did I ever tell you guys that?
If this ends in Netflix and chill, I'm getting out of here.
No, it ends with something. Though I got Netflix for the first time, and I was like, I want to watch The Birdcage. I wonder if The Birdcage is on here. So that was the first fucking movie I watched on Netflix. All right, and then you know how like
Okay.
after you watch something, like Netflix starts to figure out what you're watching and make suggestions.
Oh God.
Like I watched The Birdcage, and then Netflix was like, "Would you like to watch Long Term Companion?" And it was like two guys like hugging on the beach.
would you like to watch Bareback Mountain?
Yeah, it's like it's showing me all these movies, and I'm like, no, why would I want to watch this? And then I figured out,
God,
oh, it's like an algorithm. Why I watched The Birdcage, so I was like, I gotta watch like Die Hard and Terminator, and so Netflix doesn't think I'm gay.
I gotta watch something where Jamie Lee Curtis has her tits out. Something.
Yeah. It's like I don't want
Netflix thinks I'm gay. Oh no.
Netflix thinks I'm gay. I like girls.
Oh God.
109. I'm not gonna know who this is. I don't think. Naoki Sano.
Who?
5'9", 215, 8 years pro, a top star of Japan's Super World Sports Federation, dominates the light heavyweight division, has competed successfully against several visiting WWF stars. So he was part of the SWS, which was the promotion WWF worked with in Japan, but I don't remember him. Naoko Sano.
That's weird because on my list, that's different.
What is it?
Like that's the first time that's happened. It's Mark Briscoe.
Mark
From the
Briscoe.
Briscoe brothers?
He wasn't even. I don't even know if he
91?
was. I don't even know if he was born in '91.
I don't think so. Yeah, the Briscoes are only like 35 years old.
What? Do-do-do-do.
Who's Martin Briscoe?
Mark Briscoe, the Briscoe
Oh,
brothers.
Martin Briscoe. I was like, who the fuck
Yes.
is Martin Briscoe?
Look right there. Look right there at 109.
Yeah, somebody was totally trolling with that.
Yeah.
That's like
Someone
Chad
probably-
Austin's Wikipedia page.
Somebody was like, look, we don't know who the hell this guy is. Just put Mark Briscoe. They'll never know the difference.
Nate's not going to know who he is.
Yeah.
Number 108 is the Grappler. 5'11", 280, 13 years pro, arguably the most successful wrestler in the Pacific Northwest history, a 7-time PNW champion, once wore a mask but has switched to war paint. Because of the I guess I have to admit, because of the fact that I haven't seen a ton of Portland, I've seen some Portland. But because of the fact that I haven't seen a ton of it, the most of the Grappler I've seen was when he wrestled in Texas.
I've never seen any, so I have no comment.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about him.
Number 107. Mark's like, on my list it says Kenny Omega. I don't.
Yeah.
No. It says the Grappler. That was the only one that was different so far. That was weird.
Number 107 is Chris Benoit, 5'10", 218, 5 years pro. Continues to show vast potential while competing in Japan, a former holder of the Stampede British Commonwealth title, trained for the sport by Stu Hart. Chris Benoit, what can you say? One of the greatest technical wrestlers of all time.
He just got better with age when it came to his career. You know what I mean?
Is he even, Aaron, you're a better expert on his career, like timeline wise. 91, is he even done Wild Pegasus yet?
I don't think so.
I don't think.
Yeah, he has.
Has he?
July 4th, 1991, Jushin Thunder Liger defeats Pegasus Kid.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was like 92-ish, so I guess I was off.
Well, then he's already done what? He doesn't even have the mask anymore because Pegasus Kid was him after the mask, because they put him in the mask at first because like it's just a thing over there. Like American wrestlers, and I know he was Canadian, but if you're a blue-eyed white guy, they're gonna boo you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they didn't want him to, like, because of his style and the way he worked, they didn't want him to be like jeered as soon as he came out. So that's why, like, they put the mask on him and everything like that. And because they just didn't want it to be like blatantly obvious that this is like a brown-haired, blue-eyed white guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then when he started getting over, then that's the other funny, like, I don't want to like humanize Chris Benoit. Is that okay? I don't know.
He was a human.
Yeah, like he talks about when they put the mask on him, he hated it. Like, he hated the fucking mask. I don't want to wear the mask. I don't understand why you're making me wear this mask. And he hated it. He couldn't breathe right and everything. And then he finally got used to it and was like living the character. And then they're like, time to lose the mask. And he's like, what? Like, I like it now. This is cool. And they took it away from him. And if you want to watch some great shit, watch him and Eddie over there, man. When Eddie was what, Black Tiger? That's some good shit.
Yep.
That's some really good shit. Like, and I just, like I said, we're not gonna get too deep into Chris, but his Japanese shit was fucking fantastic.
I just learned something. It says here he started out as Dynamite Chris.
Yes.
Yeah,
he
was
patterned
paying homage to Dynamite Kid.
He patterned his whole fucking.
If you would, there are times, honest to God, there are times in their careers if you would black out their faces, you wouldn't be able to tell who was the
they were synonymous with each other when it came to style and everything. Chris patterned himself after Dynamite.
Number 106. Wow, that's really weird.
Controversy back to back.
Well, yeah, 107 is Chris Benoit. Number 106, Jimmy Snuka. 6'2", it's Murderer's Row here. 6 foot 250, 22 years pro. Superfly is still a thrilling competitor. Flying body press from the top turnbuckle is one of the most influential maneuvers ever. Roddy Piper feud was classic. You can't deny. You talk about a guy getting in his own way. You cannot deny anybody the greatness of Jimmy Snuka in the early 1980s.
I agree.
If he would not have just been a fucking train wreck as a human, he could have had the Hulk Hogan push. He was that over. You know, he could have been that guy they went with.
Oh yeah.
Vince was considering him to be that guy. And
then he
also
could have had that Tito thing.
And also, like, wild-eyed heel Jimmy Snuka was also amazing. He was so good in that role.
Supposedly he couldn't read.
That doesn't surprise me.
No,
he was illiterate.
Yeah,
so
it makes it worse because there's this thing. I can't remember who he is fucking going off on. I don't remember. But it was like on like remember when they used to have like the stage? I think it was Honky Tonk Man. Remember when they used to have like the stage and Gene would interview the people on the stage or whatever? I think it's Honky Tonk Man. Somebody hit them with something and knocks him off the stage. And then he gets up and he screams and he's going to attack. You know what Bobby Heenan says? Something you could never say now. Guess what Bobby says?
What?
Look at that illiterate tree monkey.
What the hell?
Oh, Bobby.
But all like Snook. Okay, sorry. Snuka as a human was a scumbag. Everything I hear about him, just fucking piece of shit. Woman beater, obviously woman murderer, everything like that. But it's like Nate said, you can't take away the fucking talent and the raw charisma that dude had. Like, you had no fucking idea what he was saying, but you were just riveted by it. Like, what the fuck? I have no idea.
Brother, when the ocean meets the beach, brother. It's 16 candles, brother.
It's just
there's a monk, brother. He's at the edge of the canyon, brother, and it's all gonna come down. Oh, sorry, I went into my Don Morocco.
Yeah.
But I have a legit question. I have a legit question though.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Roddy Piper was just trying to teach him to read the label on the coconut and got frustrated.
You want a banana? I got you a banana, a pineapple.
But when that dude would be
And
like, everybody, when he'd just be like, everybody out there watching in TV Wonderland on Technicolor and all this shit's like, yeah, this fucking dude's great. And then you got older and you realize, oh, this guy's a shit.
I don't know if you guys ever heard Piper talk about how when he did the thing with the coconut with Snuka, the terror on his face and him running away is real.
It's real because he didn't mean to hit him that hard. Right?
Yes, Snuka was fucking pissed.
He was like, "Oh shit, this is supposed to be a shoot."
And Piper was like, "I need to get the hell out of here as quick as I can."
Yep.
He slams that door and he's like, nope, I'm not opening that.
Number 105 is Brad Armstrong.
Hell yeah.
6 foot 226, 10 years pro, the oldest son of grappling legend Bob Armstrong, blessed with an outstanding physique and blazing speed, a two-time former Georgia national champion.
Now, at this time, was this when he was the WCW light heavyweight champion and got injured and then Brian Pillman turned on him?
That's
like
in
90, 91? 92,
That's in 92, yes.
Okay, because that was when I was first, I guess, I first saw Brad Armstrong wrestling. Was when he got that run, the feud with Johnny Flamingo in WCW, and then the feud with Pillman. I've always liked Brad. I think that he was a stellar worker.
Oh, go ahead, sorry, Archie.
Oh, no, I think he was a stellar worker. He had a decent promo. He had charisma. It's just, he never got pushed the right way.
It's going to be a callback to, I don't know what number we talked about, but this was the Brad Armstrong Bad Street era. Remember, Nate, you said Bad Street was on the
VA Bad Street.
Oh, yeah.
Am I misremembering?
No, you're right.
So this would have been at that time, and it was silly that they did it it would have been cooler if they would have just been like Brad Armstrong turned on his brother and he joined the fucking Freebirds.
Right.
Like, it would have been much
He
cooler.
had a look.
Yeah.
If you want to get to see Brad,
part of me wonders if the Freebirds were like, we got to cover this guy up, like we can have him with us. We're all fat and shit.
Yeah, he looks too good.
Cover him up. Mike Hayes is like, how am I going to be purely sexy and I'm standing next to Brad Armstrong?
Put a t-shirt on it.
Yeah.
People are going to say, like I'm purely sticky. That's what the PS stands for.
Oh my. If you want to see some good Brad outside of WCW, watch Continental from like 87, 88. Where he's teaming with his dad and his brother and doing single stuff too. But just, what a wrestler. What a great wrestler.
And everything I heard, he's kind of like the Malenko type thing, where if the fucking camera was off, he was like the funniest fucking dude in the room and super charismatic. And once that fucking camera came on, he clammed up.
Mm-hmm. I just recently watched Malenko versus Brad Armstrong from an episode of WCW Nitro. And let me tell you something. They actually gave them 15 minutes to work with, and those two put on a clinic. I mean, I like I said, I've always liked Brad, but watching him in that match was like, damn, he gave Dean a run for his money.
And he's also the only time I can watch Tim Horner and not think it's insufferable.
Number 104 is the Angel of Death. 6'5", 310, 6 years pro. The Freebirds brought him to the UWF in 87, captured the Texas title by forfeit from Kerry Von Erich in 1990. Powerful, brings a trumpet to the ring.
That was I learned something about him just recently. That was the last scheduled match that Kerry had, and that was his opponent. Before he did what he did. It's ironic.
Wasn't it a French horn he brought to the ring?
I don't know.
I thought it was, but maybe I'm wrong.
It was a sickle.
I know one thing though. he just had a figure released by a company. So
Yeah, well, and I remember seeing him on. I think he was on GWF at one point. I remember
Maybe.
seeing him world class. I also remember that at one point he was one of the people they were considering being the true identity of the Black Scorpion.
Really,
Yes,
Like an Ox Baker motherfucker, wasn't he?
there he is.
yeah.
Yeah, there he is. with his taco meat out and fucking bald head. What's going on?
All right, number 103, Larry Cameron, 6'1", 280, 5 years pro,
Ooh.
street tough Chicago brawler, held the Stampede North American title in 1989. Father was a Chicago club fighter, played with the NFL's Denver Broncos. You never seen Larry
Think
Cameron?
of a more
Archie?
No.
think of a more Jack Ahmed Johnson.
Really.
Yep.
Is that possible?
I was gonna say a light skinned black version of Hollywood Hogan.
You're making this worse because now I have a bunch of pictures running in my head that shouldn't be. No, I never. I don't know anything about him, and I can't. Why would he be this high up on the list when other wrestlers are so far back?
It's a good question. Maybe he knew Bill after.
Tell me you don't get Hollywood Hogan vibes.
I get Macho Man more from him. I see more of Macho. You know, little warrior, little Macho, little Hogan.
with Teddy Long somewhere.
Yeah, a little bit of Teddy Long.
What a mix this guy is.
What would happen if these four people had a baby?
Yeah. Damn, that thing would be charismatic. 102, speaking of charismatic, Robert Fuller, 6'5", 257, 21 years pro, Tennessee stud.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, Aaron. Tennessee stud has shocked the sport by turning good. He and Jeff Jarrett are the current USWA Tag Team Champions. A rugged brawler from the old school. The Fullers. This is Robert Fuller. Robert Fuller.
Yeah. The jam. Fucking Robert
I
Fuller.
swear, he reminds me of like when he
Jack
did the whole
Southern Hollywood Hogan.
the Colonel Robert Parker thing. For some reason, I make the connection between him and Roscoe from Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he did a lot of that.
Mixed with Foghorn Leghorn.
Right.
But I think that's what he was going for.
Yeah, and I've said it multiple times. Him and Jimmy Golden were a fucking underrated tag team. Or I shouldn't say underrated. They were a regional tag team that doesn't get talked about a lot because they never went anywhere other than like the Tennessee, Kentucky type area. And well, they kind of did though when they got up in WCW, but he was a manager then. But I think Robert Fuller is one of the greatest fucking talkers and entertainers that's ever existed in wrestling. Fucking great. And
I just seen that actually in USWA he was tag teaming with Brian Lee, who was changed from the DOA.
Yep. And also the fake Undertaker.
And they went against Jeff Jarrett and Matt Bourne.
Wow, that was probably a really good tag team. Like the match itself was probably great.
Yeah.
4 good storytellers.
We have a run in.
Oh, who ran in?
who is it?
Is it Chad? Is him and
Oh.
Archie finally going to have their match?
Chad
It's, no-
running in at noon.
it's nobody. It's nobody. Don't worry about it. He's
Who
just
was it?
listening. He's just
Who was
listening. He's
Is
just
it
being
David?
sneaky.
It's David. It's David.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Number 101.
I don't like this.
Number
Number
one-
just sits quietly in the corner and observes.
Number 101.
When they won't turn
Johnny.
their camera on. What's he doing?
Johnny
He's having-
Bad.
He's
Johnny
having
Bad.
EBAD flashbacks over here.
Number 101. We're almost to the top 100. Johnny B. Bad.
Little Richard.
6 foot, 245, 1 year pro, flamboyant rule breaker is Teddy Long's gift to WCW. A former amateur boxing champion, blasting left hand is a dynamic finisher, effeminate but tough. Let me tell you something.
He's WCW's gift. Or Teddy Long's gift.
Hold on. This is somewhere that Aaron and I are totally going to part ways.
Where you get like a fruit cake or some fucking wax candy. You're like, I don't want this.
We are totally going to part ways on this, Aaron. Mark Marrow, WWF, Wild Man, Mark Marrow.
Horrible.
Stinky. Johnny B. Bad,
Golden.
perfect gimmick for him. He did a great job. And in WC, he's one of those guys I always say he was much better in WCW. I like Johnny B. Bad. I don't like Mark Marrow.
His feud with Diamond Dallas Page was great. His feud with
Although
Johnny
it seemingly went on forever.
Yes, it did.
But go on forever.
But when you think about it, if it wasn't for him, Diamond Dallas Page wasn't getting over.
When
you
he
know
also
what I mean?
had, WCW, he had dynamic matches. He was charismatic. He was over. Yeah, I will say I like Johnny B. Bad. I wasn't a fan of Mark Marrow, but I was a fan of Johnny B. Bad.
I agree.
Aaron? Mark?
What? Johnny B. Bad? Yeah, I enjoyed him.
Kiss that don't miss.
You see him now. He looks like somebody put Johnny B. Bad in a taffy puller.
Nate, who was it? Nate or Mark? Who was it that shot him in the face with the bad blaster and he had to wear a mask for like 3
Max
months?
Payne.
Max Payne, yeah.
And you know what's funny?
That was a good feud.
Well, and when I watched that segment, I laugh.
I did too.
Max Payne. He doesn't even over dramatize it or whatever. He just points it at him, and shoots him in the face.
Right. Yeah. I think Johnny stopped bringing the bad blaster with him.
Like, ha ha ha! Look what I did. He just points it at him and shoots him in the face
and walks away.
Like, fuck you.
Number 99 is a guy we're all going to be able to get around. One of the greats that doesn't get acknowledged and should be in the WWE Hall of Fame and isn't. Bad News Brown.
Hells yeah.
Yes.
6'1", 280, 13 years pro, street tough Harlem brawler, proved worth in feud with Hulk Hogan in 1989, returned from Japan to enter Global, dangerous ghetto blaster Savat kick.
Did you skip number 100?
Shit, I sure did. That number 100 was number one. Number 100.
National bullshit, rinkety ass, fucking. Go ahead, sorry.
Number 100, Aaron. Number 100 was Joel Deaton. Do you really care?
No.
Wait, I am the biggest Joel Deaton fan there ever. Who?
Is Joel Deaton?
Fuck's sake, Mitchell.
Hold on, is Joel Deaton?
That your Warriors of Virtue?
Wait. Is Joel Deaton the other half of the Smoky Mountain tag team we talked about?
Yes.
The Wild One? Yeah,
yes,
so I do care about him.
But I want to talk about Bad News Brown, and it's my show. I want to talk about Bad News Brown.
I thought it was our show.
Stop talking back, you beer-bellied sharecropper.
I named the show, by the way.
But anyway, it ain't about. It's like Dr. Phil said. It ain't about you. Bad News
Undertaker
Brown
with Brett.
Yeah,
all about Brett.
Bad News Brown.
Yes,
one of the great wrestling heels of all time that does not get his just due.
He does not.
Indeed.
You will never find an episode of the We Can't Wrestle podcast or any other show that we produce on this network where anybody says anything negative about Bad News.
And a legitimate badass, a guy that didn't give a fuck, kind of like we were talking about Orndorff. Like, I don't give a fuck who you are, where you're at on the card, whatever you are, fuck you. And he's also a guy that every time I've read any books by anybody was kind of like what I was talking about with Haku, where he was low-key badass. Unless you fuck with him, he wouldn't fuck with you. Right. He was cool with everybody. And he just wanted to make his money and fucking go home and be with his fam, you know? And he's also low-key, like, you'll know this, during like the big like talk show run in like the 90s, like the 80s and the 90s, Arsenio was the biggest proponent of the WWF, you know, because
Right.
obviously Letterman wasn't going to have fucking wrestlers on his show. That got fucking blackballed with the Lawler Kaufman shit.
Right.
You would have them on there, and I thought Bad News did the best job on there. I thought.
Yes. He was classy. He
played
was. He did, but again, like, yeah, he was classy. He was truest to himself. You know, but I mean, as far as his wrestling career goes, don't just focus on WWF. Watch Canada. Watch Japan.
Yeah.
Watch.
Yeah.
Yes, watch all of it. You've got to watch it in its entirety because the WWF really is just a fraction of his career, although he was great there. And I mean, he's a guy, I believe him. I actually absolutely, but a lot of times with a shoot interview, you go, bullshit. You're just working me. I believe him that he got pissed and left because they made promises they didn't keep. Vince promised him. Vince promised him he was going to be the WWF champion.
Yep.
And then they decided to turn Randy Savage. And that was that. Because then you're going back into Hogan as champion. You never got the heel winning the title from Randy Savage because you just turned Randy Savage heel.
Yeah.
While he
and my one of my favorite stories is he said he was walking down a hallway and bringing up Savage. Savage would always have, and this is the other thing. Like, I think sometimes Savage gets a lot of discredit for, like, I wouldn't want my wife in that fucking locker room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd want her to have her own fucking dressing room, feel comfortable, don't be around these fucking sharks, you know? But he said he was walking down a hallway, and there's, like, at this one time, like, Liz's door was open, and she was like, hey, Alan, Bad News, you want to come in and talk? And he's like, nope. Nope. Not, like,
do I look like my name is Hulk Hogan? Do I look like I'm Hulk Hogan? There ain't no less than my eyes.
Well, he might pull out a sewer rat and throw it at him.
Yeah. I'm happy Mark brought that up because I will say that when he came out to the ring with that sewer rat to fight Jake the Snake, because Jake had a snake, I found it really comical and it was great. His match with Hogan at Saturday Night's Main Event, where he brought out the shovel, was ridiculous. But
yeah.
Did he actually ever win a match? Because I always thought everything always ended up with a DQ in WWF.
He never won a feud. He
right.
Like when it was the time for him to wrestle a guy he'd been feuding with, he was always going to beat the Coco Bewares and stuff like that. But when it came to finishing his shit up with Hogan or Savage or even Hacksaw,
he'd lose by DQ.
And then
he had the best Survivor Series gimmick too. Like, he would always just walk away from his team. Or whatever.
Yes, he was Stone Cold before Stone Cold.
Yeah,
right. So
I agree.
Like, Stone Cold's like David Schultz and Bad News Brown. And I'm not taking anything away from Steve Austin, but I'm just saying, like, those are like the precursors to the Stone Cold gimmick. But yeah, big props to Bad News Allen.
Like, he didn't even like the heels. He didn't like his fellow locker room.
And like Aaron was saying, him being a badass, he actually medaled in judo at the Olympics.
Oh yeah.
Really? He could kick the shit out of you if you needed to. Like, he had no problem telling fucking Andre to get off the goddamn bus and fight me. Mm-hmm. Andre wouldn't get off the fucking bus. Like, I believe that story too. Because Andre called him the N-word, and so he was like, "You want to fucking go? Let's go outside, motherfucker." And Andre wouldn't get off the bus. It's fucking nuts.
Number 98, Ken Patera, 6'1", 256, 18 years pro, former Olympic weightlifter, represented the U.S. in the 1972 Olympics, former WWF Intercontinental Champion, two-time AWA Tag Titleist with Jerry Blackwell and Brad Regans. I no disrespect to Ken Patera, but I don't know how he's number 98 in 1991.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing.
I mean, if this would have been 1981, If this would have been
Especially with
19,
his
if this
date
would
of
have
birth
been,
being 1943.
but yeah, I'm saying if this would have been 1981, I'd have put him in the top 25. But I don't know that he ranks 98 and 91. And I'm gonna get to ask. By the way, I'm gonna get to ask the guy that wrote it that question. Anyway,
You mean Bill Apter?
no, Bill Apter didn't
Oh.
write the top 500. Bob Smith did, who was a writer for PWI at the time, and I'm going to be on August 6th recording an episode with the John Arezzi Pro Wrestling Spotlight podcast, and Bob Smith is one of the co-hosts. So I'm going to ask him about some of this. But anyway,
You traitor!
oh no, not a traitor, not a traitor.
I'm only
Putting
playing.
that shit out there. Ken Patera is a guy that, as I got older, I became a bigger fan of him because, me as a kid, I remembered fucking like brown-haired Ken Patera, and his fucking star
fresh out of jail.
Yeah, I was like, this guy sucks. like fucking build-ass Richard Simmons. That's what I thought about him.
His full Nelson was cool though. That was the only thing I liked about him. Was his full Nelson.
But as I got older and got more into wrestling and watching the past, like heel Ken Patera, not the greatest worker in the world, but promo wise and just getting heat and shit, that dude was fucking great. Like, him, Bobby, and Big John Studd together was really good.
Oh, and when that segment on TNT,
Where they shaved the guy.
huh? No. The segment on TNT where he's doing the van gimmick.
Oh yeah.
When he's up against the building and Vince is the guy like trying to, he's trying to hold the van away, and Vince is the guy driving, and they're arguing.
That's good shit.
Really funny.
I like when him and Bobby and Stud shave the guy. Because if you watch it, Vince is fucking marking out the whole time, like he's laughing, like he's trying to hold his laughter back. It's good shit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, I haven't seen probably haven't seen enough 1970s Ken Patera in his prime matches to evaluate him as a wrestler, but
Not
I have
great.
nothing but respect for the guy.
What I'm
They
wondering is,
actually
though,
got a
like I said,
documentary on Peacock about him.
do they?
Yeah.
What I'm wondering is, though,
Flair.
like I said, I like
ahead.
his finisher, the way he used to do the swinging full Nelson. Why did guys stop doing that? Like, did he hurt somebody?
Maybe that's a good question.
You know what I mean?
Flair
Go
said
ahead,
when he
Eric.
met him. Flair said when he met him, like Flair was into like powerlifting and shit like that. That was like bigger in the 70s. And he said he met Ken Patera at fucking that grandma B's place or whatever. And Patera was like chain smoking and shit. And he was like, How are you able to like smoke and drink like that and still power lift? He's like, you don't got to be able to breathe to lift, brother. Like, he's like, you just got to pick it up. I can do whatever the fuck I want. And said that Patera had like the roughest time in fucking Vern's camp because they would have to run like miles and miles and miles. And fucking Patera was so like physically blown up that like his calves and shit were like rubbing next to it, like rubbing up against each other. And it's like Flair talks about just how insanely freakishly big and strong that fucking guy was. But anyway.
But yeah, he's definitely, like I said, great athlete, great wrestler. I just don't know that he should rank this high in 91.
Is he in the Hall of Fame? I don't think he is. He is?
I'm pretty positive he is.
I don't think he's in Vince's.
Mark, check it out.
While Mark is checking, number
I don't think he's left
97
either. He's a Burger King guy now.
Number 97 is Billy Jack Haynes. 6'3",
Fucking
240, 6'3", 245, 10 years pro. Powerful Oregonian, boasts a fantastic full Nelson, won the Florida title in 1984, recently returned to PNW where he won the heavyweight title in 1986. He was another one of those guys that just got in his own way a lot of the time. Everywhere he ever went, they wanted to push him. And he got in his own way with his attitude. And like Aaron said, I have always heard he had kind of a reputation of being kind of like a wild, like
he's
psychotic,
a psychopath.
you
He's
know.
a psychopath.
And I was
Well,
never,
yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I was never a big fan, but I also never saw a lot of him because he never stayed anywhere long enough.
Right.
You know?
I know him because of the feud with Hercules, and that's about it.
He was, what was it in WCW under the mask? Black Blood?
Black Blood.
Yeah,
And he
Black
was
Blood.
supposed to be from a little town in France. And he would look at the camera and be like, Black Blood. And say it in like his like northern Pacific accent. It was stupid.
We come from France.
Thanks, Jim Hurd.
Yeah.
Number 96, Samoan Savage, 6 foot 248, 8 years pro, has also been known as the Tonga Kid and Tama, a member of the Samoan SWAT team with Fatu and Samu. Flying body press from the top rope rivals that of his cousin Jimmy Snuka.
So this is Fatu Young?
No, this is Tama from the Islanders.
Oh, the one that was in the movie Body Slam with Roddy Piper.
Yes.
Okay.
And he was in the SST in WCW when they had Humperdinck and he had kind of the long hair.
Yep.
Yeah. He was fine. I mean, you know, you're kind of your average Samoan head shrinker type wrestler, you know.
Nate, if I wanted you to play something, do I need to send it to your personal message or the fucking Facebook
feed?
Okay. You don't have to play it right now, but I don't think these guys have ever witnessed the greatness of what I'm going to send you with Billy Jack.
Okay.
All right, number 95, Bo Beverly. 6'4", 266, 3 years pro, formerly known as Wayne Bloom. He and Mike Enos were the 1989 Rookies of the Year as AWA Tag Team Champions, now managed by Coach John Tolis in the WWF. I don't think they were ever managed by the coach on TV.
No.
I don't believe.
Maybe once or twice.
Because he wound up managing Perfect.
Perfect, yeah. Yeah. I like Wayne Bloom. I enjoyed him in his younger career before they became the Beverly Brothers. I enjoyed him in WCW when him and Mike Enos moved over there after they were the Beverly Brothers. And from what I understand and from what I've seen, his son, Von Wagner, is doing great on NXT. So it goes to show the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Mm-hmm.
His kid looks like the Geico caveman.
He does. I agree with that, but that's what he's actually playing, too, a monster. You know?
They also, Kevin Nash talked about him and said that dude, you wouldn't know it to look at him, but he was like freakishly strong. Like that dude could like power lift like a motherfucker, and Nash was like, I could never figure out how fucking strong this dude was, and he looked like a fucking string bean basically. But it's like Jesus Christ, it was like
Bloom was not a small guy.
But if you look at him, he's not like Jack the Gills. But he was saying like he didn't use these guys' names, but he was basically saying like he was in like the John Cena Cesaro type freakish strength. Like Jesus Christ.
Right.
Number 94, a member of one of my favorite tag teams of all time, a wrestler I have amazing respect for. I love this guy. But I question his choice of a name at this point.
Okay.
Because he had left the WWF under not great circumstances. And he renamed himself from Axe of Demolition to Axis the Demolisher. 6'2", 303, 4 years pro. He's not 4 years pro, whatever. A founding
Isn't he
member
about-
of Demolition, duo with Smash, was among the most successful teams in WWF history, now
Shouldn't-
competing in the Global Wrestling Federation. Totally
Wait a minute.
kayfabing me there on the
Yeah,
4
this-
years
at this
pro.
point,
Yeah,
at this
shouldn't he
point,
have-
he's 24 years
15,
pro.
24, yeah, 15, 20 years pro. Damn.
This
But
guy
anyway,
was the Mongol, for Christ's sake.
yeah. I love Axe. I love Axe. I love Demolition. I love Bill Eadie. But Axis the Demolisher is a terrible name.
Yeah. He could have went back to being the match superstar. He could have went back. He could have come up with a different name.
Well, and I was going to say, I even understand rolling on with the Demolition gimmick because you're just coming off of it, and how are you going to make the most money for your indie appearances?
right.
Come use that gimmick. But man, he could have picked a better name.
He was like, I'm going to get as close as I can to it without using the actual name.
Right.
Should have just added an ER to it and named himself Axer. You know what I mean? Something. Or Axel.
Here's my partner, Smashy.
Yeah.
He's
Axis
a guy,
and Smashy, the Demolishers.
he's a guy, honestly, that like a lot of times when I hear about like WWF, like big dogging people or whatever, I'm just like, well, they came up with it. They did this. They did that. Like, I really do think he got done dirty, in my opinion.
He did.
I agree. He did.
That's a guy I feel that Vince fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Could
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
give him fucking $12 million for it.
And they were him and Smash were integral parts of the success of the WWF in the late 1980s, and they never get any acknowledgement.
Nope.
It's because they were in that class action deal, man.
There were lots of people that were
I
in
know,
that class
but
action
they
deal.
did, they did every one of them. Every time there was a class action thing, and I'm not saying it's right, but
Hey, maybe that'll change now.
yeah,
Yeah. Triple H reaches out and offers them a Legends deal,
I mean, if Triple H got it done with Bruno,
right?
could you imagine if the next class action thing for concussions comes up and Vince puts himself in it? He's like, I'll throw him in.
I need money.
Did you see that time Taker hit me with that fucking shovel? That's what happened.
have you ever seen St. Valentine's Day Massacre?
I got thrown through the
My
cage.
ass still hurts.
You want to know why Creative went in the toilet? It's when Taker hit me with that chair, with that fucking shovel.
One of the craziest hard ways ever. That is one of the craziest. He starts pouring blood out of his fucking
Yep.
dome.
Yep.
I don't, I've watched wrestling since I've watched wrestling since 1983, since I was 5 years old. I've seen a lot of blade jobs. I've seen a lot of hard ways. That is like sickening. Like it starts pouring out of Vince's head.
And Nate, he asked for it. He went to Taker earlier in days. Like, just bring in Taker. I want to bleed in this match. They're like, no problem, boss. I'll make sure you bleed.
Don't go easy on me, pal.
Oh yeah, and Taker, no problem, Vince. This is for bringing my brother in. This is for making me think I was going to be Eggman.
Number 93 is Jim Garvin. 5'10 and a half, 231, 22 years pro. Freebird with Michael Hayes, younger brother of Ron Garvin, kayfabe, turned to rule breaking in the early 80s, introduced Valet Precious to the sport, DDT master.
Wait a
Jimmy-
second. Hold on. You just taught me something I didn't know. They weren't really brothers?
No, Jimmy Garvin is Ronnie Garvin's son-in-law.
No,
Dude,
stepson.
they looked alike.
Stepson, I'm sorry, yes, stepson.
They looked
His
alike.
real name was James Williams.
Wow. Damn, Nate, you just busted a bubble. All right.
The reason, Arch, the reason they said that, the reason they went with them being brothers, and Ronnie wanted them to be brothers, is because Ronnie wanted to project himself as being younger than what he was. Like if he was like, oh, this is my stepson or whatever, or my son, they would have known fucking how actual old Ronnie Garvin was. Like, oh, if I make him my brother,
they can tell by looking at me, but let's not let them know.
And fucking Ronnie Garvin has this like deep fucking French Canadian accent or whatever, and fucking Ronnie Garvin talks like a goddamn Texas hillbilly. What's
Right.
wrong with? But it's like, like I look back at it and like, why did anybody believe these guys were brothers? What the fuck?
I thought they looked alike.
You
I thought
just
they were brothers.
you just screwed the pooch for Archie though. Now he's gonna be watching Freebird shit, and he's gonna be like, "You filthy liar."
Yeah. You bastard.
So, what is everybody's opinion of Jim Garvin?
I liked him more as a Freebird than I did by himself.
I'm the
You know,
opposite.
really.
Yeah, like he was one of my favorite things about World Class. It's just like him and Sunshine were even better than him and Precious.
I agree with that. Yes.
Like
I
that
Sunshine
shit,
better.
that shit where he had to like go and be like the ranch hand for the Von Erichs. Like it's good shit, and I just liked him as a. I like to me when he became a free bird, and I understand because like he was friends with those guys, and they always considered him like, you know, the unofficial free bird, but the fucking 90, like the late 80s, early 90s free birds, like that's not the free birds to me, in my opinion. They should have called them some if they would have called themselves something else, I would have been cool with it. But it's like, this ain't the fucking free birds. The glam rock free birds. Like, what the fuck?
Well, I'm a fan. I think pretty much that the shades that he wore. That's a new trend that's coming back around. They call them pit vipers, I guess. But it's crazy how you see some retro stuff like that come back into being a modern trend again.
I did like every time they'd like he'd start one of his promos, he was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Go into his shit. I like Jim Garvin. I know what Nate's gonna say. But
Number 92, Dynamite Kid.
That's what Nate was going to say.
5'8",
Nate
5'8",
doesn't like Jim Garvin.
5'8", 228, 18 years pro. Former British Bulldog with Davey Boy Smith. Duo captured the WWF World Tag Team title in 1986. Currently teaming with Davey's younger brother, Johnny Smith, in Japan. I mean...
And a literal psychopath.
Yes. Yes. But can you argue... Can the argument be made that Dynamite Kid is and I'm not saying favorite. I'm not saying, and I know Aaron can say in favorite, but generally anybody you have to have two conversations when you talk about greatest wrestlers. You talk about your favorites as a fan, and then you have to say like this is Dynamite Kid is bell to bell one of the top 10 professional wrestlers to ever live.
Oh, without a doubt.
Oh,
Without a doubt.
no fucking doubt. And he revolutionized the style, and nobody can take that away from him. And no, like, I will fucking fist fight somebody that tries to tell me that Dynamite Kid, like Nate said, isn't one of like the top 10 greatest fucking professional wrestlers of all time. And he gave his entire fucking body to that fucking sport.
Yes, he did.
And he's one of the greatest of all time. And I've never seen him do anything bad. Even when his fucking back was broken and Dynamite or Davey had to fucking carry him to the ring, he was still the best fucking guy in that ring.
And I know that people can say, I'm not here to talk about his personality. I'm not here to talk about his lifestyle. I'm not here to talk about that because it's just like with Benoit. At times you have to be able to separate that stuff. The reality of the situation is, and as much as I like him as a wrestler and entertainer, and Davey Boy did kind of fuck him too.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Bulldog stuff.
Yeah, Davey Boy fucked him.
But in Dynamite's defense, or in Davey's defense, in his book, he's like, I tried to be the British Bulldog, and they said I couldn't be the British Bulldog. I was like, why? I am the British Bulldog. And they were like, well, we have evidence of this guy trademarking it. And he was like, shit, I should have thought of that. But I also think that, and I don't want to talk about the Benoit stuff too much, But I think there was some hit pieces when they were talking about Benoit that were like, oh, he patterned his life off of the Dynamite Kid, and look what he did, and so I think that kind of gave an I don't want to say it, like an undeserving light on the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
but just his in ring work and just what he did for the business, it's second to none. He's. I'll even say this, Nate. You said top 10. I'll say, and you know I'm not lying when I say it. He's in my top 5. Like, that dude was fucking great. And in '91,
Yeah, he's a
I don't
little
know.
broken down.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd
Yeah,
put it that high on the list in '91, but it's just like what he contributed to the business and the trendsetter that he was. I don't think he gets enough credit for.
Anybody have anything else on Dynamite before we move on?
He never killed anybody. I'll give him that.
He was years ahead of his time. You know.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't have that style of what you see with like Eddie and Benoit and Dean and Rob Van Dam and those guys. You wouldn't have had that without Dynamite.
Yep, without Dynamite and Tiger Mask.
Yep.
Number 91 is Riki Choshu, 6 foot 246, 17 years pro, a legend in Japan, a former holder of the prestigious IWGP title, represented South Korea in the 1972 Olympics, won the Mexican title from El Canek in 1982. Riki Choshu, he's a guy that I have to say, I've gone out of my way to watch.
So have I.
Just because, like it's one of those your reputation precedes you kind of things.
Right. Exactly.
And Jesus Christ, he was good and stiff, but he didn't hurt people. When you can wrestle stiff, it's like Brett said, if you can wrestle it and it looks like it hurts, but it doesn't, you're a fucking pro. And Riki Choshu was that guy. He was really good.
For me, it was like every time I looked at a right. See what Aaron just. Every time I would look into something Japan, there was always a mention of Ricky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I had to almost go back and watch him in order to understand certain things that were happening. You know what I mean? And it was a guy who, like we mentioned, Dynamite giving everything for the sport. Riki Choshu gave everything for Japanese wrestling too. You know what I mean?
He's still alive.
A Dynamite wrestler. I don't think so. I'm not sure though. I will look it up.
Actually, it does not say a date of death. So
spell his name. Nate.
Riki.
Yeah, the last name.
CHOSHU.
There it is. He's 70 years old. He ain't dead.
Good job, Ricky. Fucking congratulations, you're not dead.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know him, haven't seen him, but evidently he chose you, and he looks like the Japanese version of Trevor Murdoch.
That's
to
not
me, now to me, he looks like a Japanese version of Terry Bam Bam Gordy.
I was about to say Trevor Murdoch, Terry Gordy. I can see either comparison.
Yeah.
Number 89, they're kind of double dipping again here. They've done that a couple times on the list. Black Blood. 6'3", 245, 1 year pro. Masked Rule Breaker was brought to WCW by Kevin Sullivan, but has disappeared. Flying forearm drop from the top turnbuckle is Blood's favorite maneuver. Pure evil. We'll just move on. We already talked about Billy Jack Haynes. 88. This is another guy I know each and every one of us are going to be able to get behind because we all love him. Tracy Smothers.
Oh, yeah.
6'1", 227, 9 years pro. High flyer is a member of the Young Pistols with Steve Armstrong. Competed in the Southern U.S. for more than 7 years. Specialty is top rope clothesline. Now, I will say this. In the ring, bell to bell, fantastic wrestler. Also, he is one of those guys that you have to say, after his big league career wound down, this dude embraced and made the most of an indie career.
Oh, he's a live event wrestler all day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
He's a guy that, even though I did, but he's not a guy that you can't thoroughly appreciate until you see him fucking live. It's like that dude
Right.
could work a fucking room, and like I would put him on fucking Ricky Morton level of
Mhm.
knowing the room that he's in and the crowd that he's in front of, and either being able to captivate them as a baby face or get them to hate him as a heel. Like
And whether
there is a reason. Sorry, Nate. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, whether there's 50 people in the arena or 50,000 people in the arena, he is on, or what? You know what I mean. But on,
Yeah.
he's on. He's performing. He's interacting. Like Aaron said, he's connecting with that crowd. He's reading the room. I've never seen Tracy. That's all right. Never seen Tracy Smothers do anything where I was like, I didn't like that.
Right.
What I was going to say is, I know this is 91, but there is a reason that one of the greatest minds in the history of professional wrestling, Paul Heyman, was like, I see something in Little Guido. I want to get something out of him.
So I'm putting him with Tracy.
Let's put him with Tracy and Tommy Rich.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
worked.
mean,
It actually
like
worked.
like Nate had said, you know, about with the GCW stuff and Tommy Rich. Literally, Tracy Smothers was that to the entire South.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree.
They fucking loved him, and so did I. And and
it's one of the highlights of my entire fucking fanboy life. It was getting to meet fucking Tracy, and Nate can say that. Like the whole time we were driving to fucking Fort Wayne to go to that convention, I'm like, fucking Tracy Smothers gonna be there. I'm fucking jacked, and he fucked every autograph up, and he was stoned.
Eric.
Yeah, he said, what's your name? Aaron. Spell it. I said Aron, and he's like, to my good friend, or he signed my WCW card, and he put 2 A's in my name, which doesn't have, even after I told him how to spell it. And then he said, what's your name again? I said Aaron, Aron, and then he signed my fucking 8x10 to my good and wonderful friend
Eric.
It's fucking hanging on my wall. It's hanging on my fucking wall.
Now you know it would be hysterical if the next convention you go to, he's there, and as you're walking up, hey,
he's dead.
No, is he dead? Never mind.
Yeah, he's dead.
Oh, is he dead?
I didn't know he died. I'm sorry. Rest in peace, Tracy. Freddie Joe.
What would be hysterically frightening is if I went to my next convention.
He yelled out, "Hey, Eric!" And you're like, "No, you're dead."
I was like, "This motherfucker did the ultimate kick out." This is fantastic.
Zombie Tracy Smothers signed to my best friend Arab.
Oh man.
I need to pee really quick. How many more do you guys want to do?
It's up to y'all. I'm down.
How many? Where are we at? 87.
We're at 88. Yeah, so 87. Aaron, how many more do you want to do? Because I know you wanted to hit the bar.
Let's do 3. Let's do 4.
Okay.
And I want you to show those guys that promo I sent you.
All right. Give me like a minute. I'll be right back.
All right.
Guys, can we make Nate leave the "I have to pee" quote in the show? That would be funny. I have to pee, and then I was at number 87.
Wait till you guys see this fucking Billy Jack promo.
I saw a picture of it in the group text, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then I read the name of it, and it says Billy Jack versus Stone Cold official challenge. I didn't watch it though.
Yeah, don't watch it. Have you guys ever seen it?
No.
It's
one of my favorite fucking internet videos that's ever been out there. It's fucking insane. It's
as soon as they said Billy
thing.
Jack Haynes. I watched a few shoot interviews with him, and I'm like, yeah, this dude just bitter, and now he's gonna let everything out. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn.
But this fucking promo that he cuts is fucking nuts.
The blonde wig says it all. Or is that his real hair?
No, it's not his real hair.
I'm like, why does Billy Jack Hayes look like Sidney Brady?
It's a fucking crazy fucking video. Fucking love it. Every time I watch it, I fucking laugh.
Holy hell. Maybe we should do it live earlier every time, because fuck, we're gonna wrap it up here before fucking 1:30. Holy
Right.
shit.
And people were interacting while we were talking, so that was good.
Oh yeah. Which I knew Cotton was gonna troll you.
Oh, definitely. Everybody else just came in thinking, oh, free shit.
Archie, when are you gonna come on Reliving the Extreme, buddy?
I didn't know. I don't know when you guys record. When you tell
Oh
me.
no. I'm gonna set it up with Chad to do. He's gonna do an episode on my show. I'm gonna have Archie fucking pop in on that shit.
No, it has to be on the Reliving the Extreme. We've been building this shit for fucking years. I don't know how many years we've been doing Reliving the Extreme. We've been building this Archie.
At least for the last 8 months.
We've been building this Archie shit. And you know what he said to us?
What?
He was like, when's Archie going to be on here? I was like, Arch said he'd be on at some point to talk to you. And Chad was like, really? I said, yeah. And he's he's willing to face the fire.
I think at some point I should do a thing where I'm like, Chad Austin.
Right.
There you remember. Do a Black Scorpion thing.
Right. And then I'll pop on.
Do you remember?
All right, well, y'all do it on Reliving the Extreme, and then we'll have it fucking continue on onto the spotlight. How about that?
What would be the right move is to have it spill onto every show. Have it start on Reliving the Extreme, then have him I'll do a run in on Mark's show, then he'll do a run on If You Smell What the Arch Is Cooking. You know what I mean? And then we'll culminate it with an episode of Booker the Box on We Can't Wrestle.
Yeah, because that's where
or he'll be like, Archie. Or who's the Black Scorpion? Is it Archie or Chad?
Yeah.
Archie's the Black Scorpion.
So he'll be like, Chad, do you remember the Circle K?
The Circle. Do you remember?
Hey, 2015.
No, I was gonna say, do you remember the Circle K in Paramus?
I took your last hot dog.
And handshake. Hot dog and handshake. All right. We're doing 4 more, you said?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
And then we're gonna watch Cindy Brady talk about stuff she lost.
Something or other. Something's going down.
Cindy Hayes.
Cindy Hayes.
All right, so we move on to number 87, Manny Fernandez.
The Raging Bull.
6 foot 245, 13 years pro. Veteran is currently competing on the independent circuit, known as the Raging Bull. Won the NWA World Tag Team title with Dusty Rhodes in 1984. And that's all they have for the bio for Manny Fernandez.
Didn't he win with Rick Rude too?
Yes, he did. He won the yes.
That's what I was gonna say. Why'd they drop off the Rude shit? That was good shit.
Yeah.
They were a good team.
Or what about his time in GWF? Or was that not yet, right? That was like 93.
If you guys haven't, and also if you guys haven't watched them, some of the most entertaining shoot interviews just from a these guys are just shooting the shit perspective. Manny Fernandez and Ricky Morton together doing a shoot interview. It's fucking funny as shit. Just telling stories and I'll be honest with you, and I'm not at all saying anything negative about him. I'm not like a guy that's like, oh man, yeah, Manny Fernandez, woo. That's not me, but I don't hate him. But yeah, I think he's thoroughly entertaining, like just to listen to him tell stories and shit, you know.
And that
I mean, how can
Starcade
you hate him with that great '80s porn stash?
and that Starcade match he had with Abby was way better than it deserved to be.
Yeah.
No, Manny Fernandez was legit. I have to say, he very good wrestler in my opinion.
And I listened
Brutish.
to not to plug another podcast, but I listened to him on Shut Up and Wrestle, and he seems like a very humble guy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Number 86. Oh boy. PN News. 6'3", 402, 3 years pro, colorful WCW newcomer. Fans go wild for the big man's rap routines. No, they don't.
Yo baby, yo baby, yo.
Also a skilled grappler who uses his weight to his advantage, crushing broken record press.
Now, explain to me something. Fans go crazy for his rap. Is it the yo baby, or the yo?
Or the
Because
yo.
that's all he said. He never rapped.
He
Okay.
tried to rap, and it's one of my favorite Tony Schiavone moments. 'Cause I'm a Tony Schiavone fan. And later in WCW, Tony Schiavone, he started shitting kind of. If you listen to it, he kind of shit on the product a little bit because
Yep.
no matter what. But there's a segment where PN News raps with Salt and Pepper,
Mm-hmm.
and Tony Schiavone legitimately laughs at how fucking ridiculous. He's just like, all right, here you go, guys. This is fucking stupid.
I can think of half of the people that we've done covered that was deserved to be in this spot versus him.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And Salt and Pepper in that segment looked completely embarrassed and disinterested, not wanting to be there.
Right.
Not like when they looked like they were trying to seduce Bret Hart. Good on you, Bret. But this was completely different from that. But anyway, because young Nate liked him some Salt and Pepper. Anyway, 85.
Now, hold on, wait.
Who
Before
was
we
the
go
light-
over,
Which one was the? I don't want to sound silly when I say
Salt.
it. So
Salt was the short-white one.
I don't think this is the wrong way to say. Who is the lighter skinned? Was that Peppa?
No, Salt. She was the short, lighter skinned one.
And don't sleep on Spinderella, by the way.
Now, before we move on, I told you the guys this about a year ago, and you were like, no, it's not, but it is. PN News actually was in ECW for a couple of months with the Boldies.
Yes.
With Vito and the Dark, I think the guy's name was the Dark Angel again or something. Or
Angel
And
Medina.
He was also a pretty big star in Germany as Cannonball Grizzly.
I think that would have been a better gimmick for him in WCW. You know?
But this
yeah,
is the era of Jim Herd. It is what it is.
right.
Jim Herd looked at 6 foot, almost 7 foot tall Kevin Nash and said, "I know he can be Oz."
Yep.
Yeah, way to fucking
But you want to hear something though, Nate? I just recently watched a video about the Oz character that wasn't Jim Herd's idea. That came direct from Ted Turner. I mean, Jim Herd gave it to
right.
Kevin
That's
Nash,
what I'm
obviously.
saying. Yeah, the gimmick,
But Ted Turner
yes.
was all Ted Turner's idea. It's like, we own the rights to the Wizard of Oz. I'm going to use it in my company.
But I refuse to forgive Jim Herd, Archie.
I
It was
agree.
his decision who to put it on.
And then Kevin Sullivan killed a monkey.
Yes.
Right.
And then Kevin Sullivan killed a monkey.
Killed the monkey. Yep.
Number 85, complete opposite of PN News. Nobody here is going to hate on this guy. The Barbarian.
Hell
6'5",
yeah.
295, 10 years pro, formerly known as Conga the Barbarian, teamed with the Warlord to form the Powers of Pain in 1988 and 89 on his own after managerial retirement of Bobby Heenan. You know what? Not only was he like one of the great men of his size pro wrestlers of all time, but they brought up Conga the Barbarian here. And if you go back and watch that early shit from like Texas or Louisiana or whatever, fuck, he looks scary as shit.
Yeah.
And he was
Oh, yeah.
and those early days in Crockett, like Like, God damn, that dude is scary looking.
And Nate, it was like you were talking
Yeah.
about with One Man Gang. You were with me when I was in the line or whatever, and I fucking met Barbarian. Like me, I was like, oh man. Even at his age, I was like, this fucking dude. I'm intimidated to talk to this guy or whatever. But he was like super fucking nice, and what I had him sign was a VHS. Like I had the whole tape, but like the sleeve of the tape, obviously, was like this fucking Japan tape that I had where he fucking fought Dr. Death Steve Williams. And when I put it in front of him, he was like, "Holy shit, brother! I never see this." And like he kind of marked out on his own shit. Like he was like, "Oh, I fought this Dr. Death. I fought the Dr. Death," and was talking about how fucking badass like it was like he didn't want to talk about himself. He wanted to talk about the guy that he worked on that show, and he talked to me for probably a good 5 fucking minutes about that match and about that tour that he had over there and all that shit. And I know we're talking about like in ring whatever they were doing in '91, but he was one of the I'd put him in like my top 4 like favorite wrestlers that I've had interaction with at any kind of con. Like he was a cool dude, and I think that he's very underrated as like a big man worker.
Yes.
I agree with that.
Like
he had great matches with like Boss Man. What was that? 90? Was it 93?
That was that was the sorry. That was the 92 Royal Rumble.
Yeah, it's a fucking
no,
great...
no, it wasn't. It was 91 Royal Rumble. I'm sorry.
I thought he had the match with Boss Man when Boss Man was leaving.
No, that was Bam Bam.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm an idiot. But I like he had great matches, and like he had like a really nobody gave a shit, but he had a good match with Tito at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he also for it being something that's kind of panned now, because you're like, why did they put him with this guy for the World Championship? Halloween Havoc, he had a great match with Ron Simmons.
Yeah.
You know?
But he was a solid worker.
Oh yeah, no shit. Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
He gets downgraded on the list of guys talking about, like, when you talk about like big man wrestlers, I think.
Right. And like I recently, like I told you before, I recently met him like here in the last 4 or 5 months, and just he's a mammoth of a man, and he's still working in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
And don't sleep on him and Mang, man. Him and
Nah,
Mang,
hell
The
no.
Fear were amazing.
him and Mang with the Rockers at 7. It's fucking
Right?
great.
Right?
Before I even knew what a heel in the face was, I liked the Barbarian, no matter if he was a bad guy or not.
Right. Exactly.
So we're going to end this show at number 84. Did anybody get that number right?
I said 78.
I said
think Mark
83, so I was
83.
1 off.
Yeah, so Mark was the closest without going over. Mark, you win the car.
Awesome.
Sorry, it's a fucking Yugo, but anyway, number 84 is a guy that back at the time that he was around, and I first saw him in Global, then he came to the WWF for a very short amount of time. I was actually a mark for this dude back then as a kid. 91, I'm 12 years old, and he intrigued me. But anyway, it's Big Bully Busick.
Yeah.
6'1", 255, 5 years pro, former Georgia All-Star champion, recently entered the WWF. Among the sport's most naturally powerful men, has developed a feared heart punch in recent months. I don't know why, but I just remember young me being intrigued by this
Maybe
dude.
it was the sweater or the hat or the cigar or that old timey gangster look. But I agree with you. I marked out for him a couple of times, and small fact, I've made him twice in custom form.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
you
so
know,
there's obviously other marks out there for
It
him.
was
but-
an
Yeah.
interesting gimmick.
Mhm.
Harvey was his
Um,
manager, right? Football manager.
Side note, you guys remember the Superstars or whatever where he came out and he had his stogie
Yeah.
and he popped a little girl's balloon? Do you guys remember that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know who that little girl was? Who was it?
Don't tell me it was Stephanie. Was it Stephanie Rand?
Nope, it was Bobby Heenan's daughter.
Oh my God. Bobby's like, don't worry, sweetie. You know, Daddy likes it.
Well, I mean, he had a good body. Like he was built like a brick shit house,
Oh yeah.
and it kind of reminds me of like the old wrestling strongman gimmick. You know,
Right.
that
Well,
back at the
that's
carnival,
kind of what the
like,
gimmick was he was like basically like Bluto from Popeye.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was like
the-
Bluto. He was like Bluto meets Ox Baker.
right.
and you're not gonna get a 5 fucking star match out of it, but it was
No,
cool.
and like I said, I mean, I'm not at 43 years old now. When I'm researching wrestling or researching history to talk about it on my shows, or just because I love to know shit, I'm not going to be like, you know what, tonight it's a big Bully Busick marathon. But I remember back then being very intrigued by this guy, so I'm not going to hate on him. You know, he did his job.
Right.
And now we are going to close the magazine, belch, and get ready to wrap up this edition of the We Can't Wrestle podcast. But before we go, first of all, Aaron, anything to plug?
Just keep listening to all our shows. Nate's Slice of Time, Mark's Indie Spotlight, Smell What the Art is Cooking, my little show, The Year That Was, ... which we're going to record a new episode of some point this week on my vacation. Hopefully in the early evening, so I can bask in the sun as I show you guys how it's done. And then also listen to Reliving the Extreme with myself, Nate, and Chad. And just, I appreciate everybody that listens to our shows and supports it. And I say it all the time. Please just like, comment, share, do whatever you can do to get the show out there to get more listeners. I want to turn this shit into some Patreon and get $5 each from you people. That's what I want.
Well, I'll definitely help with gas.
A download equals a gallon.
Right.
I don't know if it's that much, but Jesus.
Archie?
I think Aaron said it the best. I agree with Aaron. The new edition of If You Smell What the Art is Cooking will be out possibly Monday. Talking about pretty much everything going on in the world of wrestling this week. Check out Mark's show, Aaron's show, Nate's show, Chad's show. The new show with David Gold and Cheyenne Ortiz, Golden Voices, debuted. We got a lot going on, so make sure that you stick around and stay tuned.
And Mr. Mark Brew.
This week on the Indie Spotlight, I have Johnny Romano, so we're taking a rewind. He's the king of the 90s, and we're going to have some conversations about, retro stuff and his career, 19 years in the business, so it's going to be interesting. I'm a little confused because Aaron hasn't did his drunken belligerent send off, and it's kind of throwing me off. But
We're gonna
I'm only fucking 5 tall boys in. I had a long day at work.
We're gonna let Billy Jack Hayes take us out this week with the drunken
Yeah,
craziness.
let's let him get fucking crazy.
And I'd like to say that this company may go under in about 4 days' time, because as I step down as chairman and CEO of the WrestleNet Radio Podcast Network, your co-CEOs are now Aaron Maxon and Chad Austin. Good luck, motherfuckers.
What?
We're fucked.
Damn.
No.
You know what? You know what? I quit because I'm not even a CEO. I'm done. Okay, I
If
got
he's gone, I'm gone.
No. When did that happen?
I'm just kidding, Aaron. It's because of the Vince McMahon thing. Follow along.
Yeah. Not
Damn,
fucking-
Aaron killed kayfabe. You killed
He
kayfabe.
doesn't even want to go to the bar now.
No. In the pecking order of things with Vince quitting, if it was the We Can't Wrestle podcast, it would be like, I'm stepping down, and now Harvey Whippleman is CEO. That can't happen.
That's great.
All right, a little audio to end the show, and then I'll sign off for real. We talked about Billy Jack Haynes earlier, and for those of you that have not heard this ruthless, toothless tirade from Billy Jack Haynes from a few years ago,
Hold
it's
on.
just crazy.
Hold on.
What?
Pause. That's
What?
that's the name.
That's the name of the show.
Ruthless, toothless Billy Jack Haynes.
He's gonna calm everybody that's listening.
Oh man,
Oh, that fucking popped me.
roll that beautiful bean footage.
This is a tirade from Billy Jack Haynes a few years ago, just going off. The video was posted August 30th, 2015 on YouTube.
I
It's
can't believe
Billy
you guys
Jack
haven't seen this.
versus Stone Cold, the official challenge. Archie
Oh,
and Mark,
that's
you
gonna
have
be-
not seen this?
Nope.
Have not seen this, but I'm
That
assuming he
almost
was
gave me a
pissed
heart-
off at that black blood gimmick.
That almost gave
Right.
me a heart attack. That ruthless, toothless shit.
All right, everybody shut up and listen. Ready?
Yes.
Stone Cold, I'm going to issue a challenge to you right
Oh
now.
God.
I'm going to get in shape because I got one last fight,
Look at that wig.
and it's you versus me. You beat
Damn,
women
Mr.
real
Ric
good.
Flair all over
You
again.
woman beater. You punk ass woman beater. You're a woman beater. I don't like woman beaters, asshole. Dana White let it happen and made the best man win. Steve Austin, Stone Cold piece of shit. Like a woman beater. You're not getting away with it. You're not beating a woman up on my watch. I'll knock your ass out, Steve Austin. You punk ass woman beater. Dana White, I know Vince, you're too chicken shit to take the fight. You're a mark. That's all the work to you. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Pussy! You can beat up a woman, but you can't beat up Billy Jack Haynes. You and everybody here might think I'm insane. But guy, what's his name? Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Oh my God, I forgot.
Isn't he a woman beater? It's all work. Caesar said the same thing, didn't he, Vince? The heat went on me, but now I'm challenging you to a UFC fight, 1 minute round to a finish. You're not getting away with it. You get it? You're not getting away with it. You're not beating a woman up on my watch. What goes around comes around, Vince. It's happening right now. And the same with you, too. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Billy Jack Haynes versus Stone Cold Steve Austin in a UFC fight. No, I'm talking to shoot. What's the answer, Stone Cold? What's the answer? I'm taking you on. You got to have enough balls to say yes. Wait a minute, Stone Cold, baby. You're a girl. Who knows? I never see you in the shower because Billy Jack Haynes said so.
Oh God.
One way-
What the fuck's up with that goddamn wig?
Yeah, I don't get it.
And did he catch dementia halfway through that fucking promo?
What's his
He's like,
name?
what's his name? Stone Cold Steve Austin?
He's
It's
like,
Stone Cold. It's Stone Cold piece of shit. You
he's
fucking
like in
idiot.
the middle of a desert in a trailer park.
There was meth being cooked in the background, you guarantee it.
What the fuck is going on?
I'm gonna
It's the-
get in shape.
It's the greatest goddamn promo in the history of wrestling.
Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us for this ruthless, toothless edition of the We Can't Wrestle podcast.
I like when he's like, Stone Cold beat the shit.
You strong cold piece of shit.
It's
He
like,
went a little jailhouse too. He's like, I never seen you in the shower. You might be a girl. What?
It wasn't I never seen you in the shower. It was I never seen you in the shower.
it's like what the fuck is that? Why do you sound like
What happened?
Sylvester? He sounds like Sylvester the cat, and he's cutting a promo.
We got some stone cold suffering succotash going on here.
And what the fuck is up with that 1 minute rounds?
Yeah. 1 minute rounds to a finish. Like, yeah,
And
it's
his
gonna finish. It's a minute.
Fucking Tammy Faye Baker wig.
Not a tooth to be found in his head.
He looks like a squid billy.
Right.
You don't need to be challenging Austin. You need to be calling Aspen.
Early, is that you?
What's his name? Stone Cold Steve Austin? Piece of shit.
Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon. Oh, Christ.
Oh, it's one of my favorite fucking things ever.
I wonder if in 2015 somebody ran into Vince's office like, Vince, you gotta see this.
Vince never saw that.
No, he didn't, but I wonder if it happened. Vince, you gotta see this. No, I don't.
Vince is like, what the fuck had happened to David Schultz? Jesus Christ. Look at that wig.
Like, you gotta see this, and he's like, "What the fuck is a Billy Jack Haynes?" I don't know what that is.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another edition of the We Can't Wrestle podcast. I am going to sign off, and we will see everyone next week, as we continue our journey through the PWI 500. We might be able to finish this bitch up next week, ladies and gentlemen, and then get on to the Hall of Shame.
Ooh.
Billy Jack Haynes' wig is now one of my
Nominee.
Billy Jack. I got two. I got Billy Jack Haynes' wig and his missing motherfucking dentures. Two inductees.
Well, Nate,
What I want
he
Billy
spends all the
Jack
money on the
Haynes.
wig.
What I want
Okay,
Billy
sorry.
Jack Haynes' wig to be is bronzed,
And put the
What the
rafters.
fuck?
like the Dusty Rhodes statues and the Andre the Giant statues,
Stacy Keebler's ass.
Yeah. There you go.
and a bronzed Billy
Wig.
Jack Haynes wig.
With one side flipped up, because that's the way it was sitting in the video.
A bronzed Billy Jack Haynes wig.
I'm ending this show now. Thank you for joining us, everybody. And we will see you next week on the We Can't Wrestle podcast.
Good night, folks.